Hey guys, how you doing? Today's August 2nd, so it's the day after the 5 tractor video. And I figured I'd make a quick video this morning addressing some of the video requests I got. I got them all written down here, so everybody who sent me written or video requests, I'll get to them. It's just a matter of being able to do them. I know Todd, he wanted me to do a lift all pump teardown and rebuild, but right now I probably won't get to that till next year, just because the M is, it's kind of a pain to work on that. I mean, it's a half hour away from me, so every time I go work on it I got to drive a half hour there, load up all the tools. Even though Domino's got a bunch of tools, but sometimes I like to bring a lot of my own just so I'm not using his all the time. Anyhow, it's just, that's probably going to be next spring. And then Mike wanted me to do an Alice WD video on the Alice. And I think there's some misunderstanding as to who owns that tractor. Essentially, this is what happened. When we got the Farmall H and we got the Alice, a friend of mine's aunt called me who used to own a hayride and said, hey, I'm getting out of the hayride business. I'm selling the last tractors I have, and the last 2 she had were the Farmall H and the Alice WD. And she knew that I was into old tractors, so she called me first. And I said, yeah, we'll come take a look at them. And I asked what she wanted for them, and she said $350 a piece. Said, okay, great, sounds good. Went out to look at them. We did get the Alice WD to start and run for a second, but didn't keep it going. And the H, it needed, obviously you guys saw the H series, it needed some things. So what happened was, because I couldn't take both tractors, so what happened was, since I'm more of a Farmall guy, he's more of an Alice guy. He's restoring an Alice C right now, and he's actually looking for a factory wide front for the Alice C. So if anybody knows of one, please let me know. But anyhow, since he's an Alice guy, him and I got both tractors. We split the price. It was kind of a package deal price. Both tractors for $700. He paid $350. I paid $350. He took the Alice. I took the Farmall H. So that's how that works. I keep the H at his place, but eventually when I get, into a different house with more land and a pole barn, hopefully, that will come with me, and then all these tractors, obviously, and the tractors over at Domino's will come with me as well. So they'll all be in one place. Let's see, what else is on the list? That's kind of what the deal with the Alice WD is. I'll get a video of it at the show. It's going to be at the show. So in a couple weeks here, when the show comes around, I'll get some videos of it. Tim wanted me to make a ride to Nowthen video. I did kind of do that last year, but the route that we took, it was really long. So hopefully, I'm trying to talk everybody into taking the more direct route this time, and it won't, I mean, it took almost 2 hours to get there last time, so it usually takes me about 35 minutes with the case to get there, so that's not too bad. So I'll make that video when the show comes around. And then Matt wanted to know kind of my history and my skills, how I acquired my skills in wrenching and my interest in tractors, and then what a dream project tractor for me would be. So my history, well, I started this tractor here. This case was the first tractor I ever started wrenching on, And that one, I probably started dinking around with it when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. Just started doing simple things, you know, pull the hood off, pull the grill off, or what was what was left of the grill at the time. That's probably a good thing I should do, is show you guys a couple of before photos of the case here. Maybe I'll plug that into the video right now. So those are the before photos. That's, I don't know, I guess that's kind of where I acquired my skills. My mom always told me that when I was really little, you know, 2 or 3 years old, that I would go around the house and I'd pull all the floor vents out, and then I'd stack them up in the corner. So I always had a thing for taking things apart. And I think I'm right around the same age, I found a screwdriver and I took the front door of the dishwasher apart and pulled out all the insulation on the inside of the door of the dishwasher, and that did not make my parents very happy. So I just, you know, I guess I've just always been a natural at wrenching. So, and my grandfather had the 1941 Case SC and a 1940 Farmall M, and that's kind of what got me into tractors, I guess, was always being around them. So that's where the interest in the tractors began, was hanging around at the grandparents' lake place and taking rides. You know, he used the Case a lot for skidding wood and skidding logs, pulling stumps, all kinds of things. You name it, that tractor did it. And the M that he had was more of a snowplow tractor. That was kind of his heavy-duty snowplow tractor, and had the same loader and everything that my M has. That's kind of why I built the 47M that I have the way I did, was to kind of mimic the tractor that my grandpa had, because I wasn't able to get that. It kind of escaped the family's possession. So anyhow, my dream project tractor, I don't know. I guess I kind of have a goal. I have a couple goals. My first goal, I'd like to have a tractor from every era, from the teens to the 50s, but the longer I wait to get something from the teens, the more expensive it gets, and the harder everything is to come by. So I might have to just go from the 20s to the 50s, and I don't think I want anything newer than 1955. So that's kind of one goal I have. The other goal, I'd kind of like to get one of each letter series of the Farmalls, so Cub through the M. So all I have left would be the Cub, the A, the B, and the C. So the smaller series. And then I'd also like to get a unstyled B John Deere and an unstyled G. But those unstyled G's come at a pretty hefty price. So let's see, what else? I think a Minneapolis Moline would be really cool to have. I like the Twin City version of the Minneapolis Moline. I think it's a JT or MT, I can't remember, but it's a really neat tricycle version, and it's an older Minneapolis, probably from the 30s, I think 35, 36, somewhere in there. And I'd like to get an Alice Chalmers. I'd kind of like to have one of each major brand too. So I really got all kinds of different goals, and I don't have any one particular tractor that's my dream tractor, I guess. So I like bringing them back from the dead. So that's just as satisfying for me, no matter what tractor it is, I guess. So that should cover Matt's suggestions. And Tony before, I did do, in the last video, I did do a close-up of the steering mechanism on the case, but a quick history on that tractor. Like I said, it was my grandpa's tractor, and I had the opportunity to go up to my uncle's place, 2 weeks ago now, and I never really had the chance to ask my grandpa how he got it. So I asked my uncle, because my dad couldn't really remember when he was alive how my grandpa fell upon it. So I asked my uncle, and he said that my grandpa, when he first bought the property up north near Alexandria, he was looking for a tractor, and this was in the early 70s. And he talked to some of the locals up there, and one of the, I think it was the fire chief or fire marshal, something with the fire department, told my grandpa, well, I know of a place we can go. And he said, pack up a good battery and we'll take a drive. And they went out to North Dakota to a salvage yard, and the owner of the salvage yard just said, take your battery around, you know, if you see a tractor you like, put it in the tractor, see if it starts. So he did that. He went, you know, picked out a few tractors and put the battery in this case here and fired right up. So that's the one he took home, and that was in the early 70s. And this tractor's seen a lot of my family. Most of my older cousins have, you know, grown up on this tractor with Grandpa, and I grew up on it, my little brother. My grandpa passed in '93, and I think it was parked shortly before that because there were some issues with it, and it was parked in the weeds up at the cabin. And everybody would just say, you know, when I asked about it when I was younger, they'd say, it's just wore out. So I don't take no for an answer typically, so I asked my dad if we could drag it out of the weeds, and we did, and that's kind of where I started tinkering. And I did get it running, and I used rattle cans to paint it back in like 2000, so it sat for about 8 years, and it had a broken ring in one of the cylinders. The mag was bad, the starter was bad, the cylinder head was cracked, so we had to get a new cylinder head for it. I put some gaskets in it, new rings, and I put the original radiator in it because, as you guys saw from the photos, my grandpa had removed the original radiator, so it must have leaked at some point, and then installed a car radiator, and he had to make a bunch of modifications and cut the top cowling of the grill off and make some big notches in the side panels along where the radiator slides in, and it was a cobbled up mess, but it worked. So it worked for many years. But after I bought this townhouse, the tractor, well, before I bought the townhouse, we sold the lake place, sold our grandparents' place after my grandmother passed, and the tractor sat up there outside for a couple years, didn't get used, and then I finally brought it back, and it sat at a friend of mine's parents' place in just the North Metro here for probably a year or two, and then I bought the townhouse, and when I got it here, I did a full teardown on it and restoration. So that's kind of the gist of it. So lots of family history with that. It's been in my family almost going on 50 years now, I suppose. So 40 to 50 years since the early 70s. So that's about it for the case. I guess today what the plan is I'm going to continue to make some signs. These are kind of the signs that I make for the threshing show. It's basically just a piece of 1x4, and I take and I bevel the sides, and then I hand engrave everything. So, and then I paint them, and then they hang on the tractor. Something like something like that. So, but anyhow, I got some errands to run, and then I'm gonna come back. Oh, I'm gonna pick up a gallon of boiled linseed oil and some mineral spirits, and maybe get the Farm All H coated in linseed oil. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna try to use my HVLP gun. It's just a cheap gun, so if I ruin it, it's not a big deal. I got it at a garage sale. So anyhow, I'm gonna run these errands and I'll get back with you. Alright guys, well, we're back from the store, and I have a barbecue grill, as most people do, and it had a broken lid handle on it. So I got tired of that because it was just flipping all over the place. Every time you go and open the lid, it'd be flipping all over. So I got tired of it, and I decided to make my own. Here's what I did. I just went and bought a 1 1/4 inch wood dowel. I had a couple carriage bolts laying around. Cut it up, drilled bigger holes, bolted that sucker down. That only took me 20 minutes, but it's fixed now, and that ain't gonna go anywhere. So now that I got that out of the way, I'm gonna keep going on my signs here, and yeah, let's get going. There's no good way to do this. Gotta let it warm up a second. guys can probably hear, the alternator fan is hitting the hood just a little bit, so I'm gonna have to adjust that, and then I'm gonna spray this thing down with some water and clean it off a little bit, scrub it with an SOS pad, and then spray it with boiled linseed oil and mineral spirits. So that's what the plan is for that. And from there, I've also got the first coat of paint on all these signs that I've got. Those are for the F20, those are for the H, and then I told our friend that I'd make him some signs for his John Deere B, and right now he just wanted them to be anonymous, so we put the tractor club on there, the Ramsey Relics, because he wants to keep it a surprise until it's restored, and then his grandpa will make new signs for him, and then his grandpa will see it after it's restored. But because his grandpa, I think, is going to come to the show, but as of right now, he's not going to tell his grandpa that he's actually going to be taking the tractor. So let me get my hose hooked up here, and I'll spray it down quick and hit it with an SOS pad. And got some crap in my eye, and then we'll get set up to spray it down with linseed oil. Alright guys, so we took and mixed mineral spirits and boiled linseed oil 50-50. In case you didn't know, this is a paint mix cup. It tells you all the ratios on here, but I just did it. There's also a gauge for ounces, so I just did 12 ounces linseed oil, 12 ounces mineral spirits, and it's a pretty runny consistency, so I'm not too worried about that. But what I don't want is the and I should put a liner in here, but since I've got plenty of thinner and everything, I'm just going to do it like this. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to start over here. So hopefully this doesn't blow all over the camera here. See, I want to be downwind, or upwind, and at that point I was downwind, so right now if I put it there, I don't have anywhere to hang this now. If I put it on top of the air conditioning unit, the central air unit, you know that's going to kick on. So, see what happens here. Shoot. bit more to finish this back wheel. Alright guys, well, let's get this thing back over there. Wait a minute. Probably help if I reconnected the spark plug wires, huh? Hold on a minute. Alright, let's try this. Get my car keys. I'm always forgetting something, you know that? Alright, now let's go. Well guys, that pretty much does it for this video. Hope you enjoyed a little ride on the H. I know I forgot it yesterday, so that's what it is. It is what it is right now. Everything's running, everything's together. We fixed that alternator. I'm not sure if I told you before, but the problem was the nut loosened up on the end of that alternator shaft, and the cooling fan for the alternator. So this cooling fan was just wobbling in there. So I had to go get a new nut because the nut that was on there was actually a little bit stripped out. Went and got a new nut, and everything's fine. So that pretty much does it. Tomorrow I gotta just color in the lettering on the signs, and that includes these signs. So I got white primer for the Farmall signs, and then I got my yellow paint for the John Deere signs. So I think that's gonna do her though. Thanks for watching, thanks for wrenching, thanks for putting up with my forgetfulness, and stay tuned for the next one.